morning. Welcome back to SJU. We are here. We are on Fandom Entertainment. It is Tuesday. We are very, very excited today. We're going to be talking about some Mandalorian early returns, getting some of that good broccoli. We are going to be answering some more of your questions and doing some more shout-outs because today is the day that Never Surrenders coming out, so we're going to do a little talking about that as well. I'm a Danielle Radford. We've got Dan, Ed, Joe.
Happy Galaxy
morning.
Questmas.
Happy Galaxy Questmas. It's very exciting. But first, we're going to get into Mandalorian early returns. This is via Forbes/CNET. Disney Plus, Disney's highly anticipated streaming service, has signed up more than 10 million subscribers since launch, according to numbers provided by Disney. So by comparison, HBO now took almost 3 years to reach half of that number.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's also, HBO is also in home, so that makes more sense. But as this poses, how does The Mandalorian square up against demand for similar sci-fi, fantastical programming such as Stranger Things, Doctor Who, and Westworld? Turns out that adjusting for 7 days on the market, The Mandalorian is clearly pulling into first place. Parrot Analytics, which is a great name for an analytical company.
It's pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah, you just shove numbers into it and it just parrots it out. Numbers. So they are a leader in data research for TV and streaming. They have the info. So what they found out is, just going through it, Mandalorian is 298% ahead of CBS's All Access Star Trek Discovery, 175% ahead of HBO's Westworld, the seventh day after its season 2 debut, 72.3% ahead of BBC's Doctor Who on the seventh day after its series 11 debut, and 69.8 nice ahead of Stranger Things on the seventh day of its season 2 debut. Had to. I'm a child. So clearly Mandalorian doing incredibly well. So what do we think about what this has to say about Disney's dominance over their streaming wars?
I mean, I think out the gate for a while, it'll definitely be like, oh man, Disney just kind of killing everyone, because they get their like shots off the bow are Star Wars, Marvel, like those are real big catapults to launch, So I do feel like for the probably the next year, 3 years, honestly, it's going to be like a fight for second place while Disney sort of continues to crank out, big guns. But I think the test is, can they keep that up? Obviously, a live action Star Wars series is going to attract a lot of eyes. Right. It didn't have to build its own fan base like Stranger Things did. It didn't have to build its own momentum. It comes with its own. The Star Wars people that have fallen off are gonna kind of go, this kind of looks like my jam. People who are still super obsessed with everything Star Wars are gonna come in because Dave Filoni's doing a live action series, and to a lot of those folks, he should be in charge of all of Disney. So like that's huge news for them. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it's doing massive. And I think the streaming wars are going to be a second place fight for a while.
Yeah. Just for the established IP. So do you think that this is ultimately sustainable, or do you think there is going to be a drop-off in a couple of years?
Well, I mean, these numbers are
definitely provided by Disney.
Well, not Parrot Analytics, but I mean, also it's not a one-to-one comparison. These are season 2s of these shows. Season 2 of Discovery, season 2 of Westworld, series 11 of Doctor Who, season 2 of Stranger Things, versus the premiere of something that has global appeal, even though Disney Plus is not currently global, but has massive appeal with an endless marketing budget, and a fan base pre-built in. So, I mean, these numbers sound impressive, but I really don't think they should be that surprising considering the resources that Disney has on hand.
And they were launching against some season 1s that were included too, but but even there, it's like, but of course it's ahead of Dark Crystal.
Right, Dark Crystal had one movie niche that came out 30 years ago. Star Wars has 9, and the last one was last year. So, I think programming-wise, this is not a one-to-one comparison. It's almost like judging a movie against a TV show. They're different things. Obviously, this proves that, and we knew this, that The Mandalorian it helps that it's good. I think that it's building momentum because anybody that was sitting on the fence about it, I think they're probably seeing the feedback from these first few episodes and saying like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And it's going to sort of crescendo like any season of television generally does toward the end. But as far as Disney does this is what they do all day, is market and sell things. And they did a great job with this service, and The Mandalorian is the cornerstone of it. But at the same time, to say it's like, it's ahead of season 2 of Westworld. Well, yeah, but you also have the mechanism of Star Wars and 30 years of fandom versus season 2 of a niche cable TV sci-fi show.
Yeah.
Like, these are...
And that's definitely a thinker on top of that.
Right, and not to discredit The Mandalorian, it's doing great. I love the show. I'm sure if you were to release actual viewership numbers, it'd be right up there. But I don't necessarily think it's a fair comparison.
Right.
Sure.
Personally, other than these are streaming shows, and The Mandalorian is also a streaming show, but I think there's a lot of intangibles in those numbers.
Like comparing
to acknowledge
Coke and RC Cola or something.
Yeah, exactly. They're both soda.
They're both good, and they're both good. You can get them both at a bar, but one has more name recognition.
Exactly.
I haven't seen no RC Cola commercials in a while.
Well, yeah, but also this whole jazz about. I think one thing that gets lost in all the numbers, and if there's one thing I'm good for, is to go, me no understand numbers, here come emotion. So hot take Sally on this. We're discounting the
number Hulk.
Oh, math! Smash numbers, billions of dollars. My movie don't get. Anyway, Universal, own me. Anyway,
you really do need to be on charting. You really would be the rigs to charting Murtaugh. Yeah,
dude, no. I'm too old for that. I really think that we're discounting the fact that. Yes, all those factors you guys put in. It's like how Michael Jordan's general manager, coach, supporting cast were all super great, so that he could be super great, right? So besides all that, though, The Mandalorian jazz is the coolest part about Star Wars. Full stop. Stares in the camera. It's the coolest part. The Mandalorians don't have no fancy powers. All they have is their culture. We're missing the fact that the coolest part of Star Wars finally gets to shine. Ever since we saw that goofy helmet and he was standing next to Lizard Man and Robot Dude, ever since that moment, ever since the Star Wars special that Jon Favreau was obsessed with, as we know, right? Ever since that seed was planted, we knew that it would one day be a mighty tree full of rocket-packed dorks and armor flying around it, doing cool stuff.
Zipping
finally,
around.
yeah, having lightsabers bounce off their chests and shooting and flame throwing things.
The scum and villainy stuff is the cool stuff.
Fantastic, dude. And I've long been a proponent of the no laser sword family part of the Star Wars universe, and we're finally getting to see it shine. So all those advantages you guys talked about. And then we finally get to the cool part, the human part, the non-1% laser family, dork family, incestuous, ridiculous, royal. It might as well be the crown. Star Wars is the crown for nerds. I know. But I'm just saying.
Crown gang over here.
No, I understand, but this obsession with royals and what the 1% wants to do, I like Succession too. But I would really like a Mandalorian to come flame them up.
Force chokes off for daddies.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to kink shame. Anybody who likes to get force chokes, do your thing. But I'm just saying, the Mandalorian, to me, connects with reality. I know that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got a little Yoda.
Well, I get it. It's the Western. It's Lone Wolf and Cub. Yeah,
Right.
It's a little more grounded. Yeah. No, I get you.
So yeah, I think we're just discounting the fact that we're them leaning into that and doing it so cool with feature budget, with feature talent too. This is some rinky-dink operation.
This could have been a movie.
Yeah, this isn't a thought exercise.
And as far as Disney Plus goes, they're able to leverage the #1 franchise globally in the world with Marvel, the #1 science fiction franchise globally with Star Wars, the #1 kids franchise globally, not just with Disney itself, but with Pixar. They're able to, the fact that they're doing well is like, and they're in a position financially where they can price it competitively to every single other streaming service out there.
Yeah.
So
offer bundles and all other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that they're doing well, I think, is like they started the game 15 points ahead. Of course they're doing well.
I definitely agree with that.
And Warner has Apple's got blind Jason Momoa. Warner has 20-year-old episodes of Friends, and Disney has 7 of the 10 highest grossing movies globally of all time, if not more. And by the way, they bought Avatar too, so it doesn't matter. Of course they're doing well. They have the resources that no one else has.
I think the interesting thing is going to be like 2, 3, 4 years out.
Right, once everyone's already seen the vault and all that stuff. Because that was also, aside from obviously
I'm already a little mad at the vault.
Whoa, what'd the vault do to you?
I don't know, the vault didn't give me everything I wanted all at once.
Oh.
And
that's what the vault does. That's the defining characteristic of the vault.
But that's another factor, though, that we're...
Joe, that's what a vault, by definition.
What Disney Vault is.
Give me my Mighty Ducks!
But that's the cool thing about this, too, this release schedule, Jazz. We can't discount that as well. The fact that they've made something 30 years old, event television, and not to beat a dead do back, but I think what I was trying to say in that initial rant, I wish I could just be more succinct sometimes. Imagine if Boba Fett ever got to do anything cool on screen. That's what you finally
the camera
got.
That one time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's what we've all been imagining. Some of us Star Wars dorks. I count myself amongst those, as far as like people who like the other parts of the universe. And my girlfriend obviously got all those bounty hunter books, which are culling bits from for this. It's like if Boba Fett got to be cool instead of just look cool, and it's a finally. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of fantastic.
Yeah, and I do think you're absolutely right with appointment television, because had this been something that dropped all at once, we would have gotten one weekend of Baby Yoda memes and then it would have been done.
Oh yeah. And it's just ongoing. Although apparently we don't get Baby Yoda memes either, because
I am so salty about this.
I guess they're taking down memes.
So I looked.
You're trying to gift the mouse gang, baby.
So I looked at that article.
Is that true or is that BS?
So I looked at the article, and the article sourced like one instance where someone was like, "My gifts are being taken down."
Oh, okay.
So it didn't
it's like a
source-
Captain Marvel thing where it's like, I have a picture of an empty theater. It's a nationwide conspiracy.
Right,
Yes.
and not all of those were gifts.
Carol
Some of
Danvers'
them,
Pizzagate, yes.
Yeah, some of them were like clips of things that were like plot spoilers.
Well, then yes, of course.
Then yeah, that's gonna
so
get
this
taken
whole gift
down, I'm
thing
sure.
is
So I'm holding.
Good.
Yeah.
dubious.
Oh, give me my Baby Yodes.
Yeah.
All right.
I felt like that story was,
Here,
was
let's
a little,
do a little fact checking
dubious.
right now. I'm
Get in
going to
there.
go on Twitter and I'm just going to search for Baby Yoda and I'm going to see if a GIF comes up and then we
use a
can
Baby Yoda gift to promote this show.
We use
use
a
a Baby Yoda GIF to promote this show.
Oh, that
so
means
this is what
if
happens.
we hear a lound knock at the studio door, we know
Excuse me,
they're
it's the
coming.
mouse gang. It looks like you guys are giffing.
Hey, you guys making
Because
gifts?
somebody came to me yesterday and
Woohoo!
this is
I pee!
pages.
Woohoo!
I have literal pages of Baby Yoda. So because somebody came to me yesterday and they're like, Disney's pulling down all the Baby Yoda gifts.
Doesn't look like it.
And no, they're right there. Shut up.
They're there for you to use. Yeah. There was
Copyright
like one
infringement.
source, and then it was very kind of quickly.
But that's how it works. Is like one person says one thing, and then it goes around the internet.
And they tell their
5,000
friends?
times, like Disney's pulling
Their
down
friends?
the Baby Yoda gifts, and then even me, that somebody came to me and was just like, Disney's. And I'm like, really? And it took me literally. If you hear anything, fact check it for 15 seconds, and you might find the truth out about it.
We
Someone make
appreciate
that a gift.
Someone make that a gift.
Sorry.
And then we're going to pull it down because it's our IP.
Baby Yoda truther.
Oh, man, y'all. Thank you so much. Again, we always like to thank you all for liking, you're subscribing, you're sharing, you're turning on your notifications, you're telling all of your friends about us, you're commenting, you're hitting that bell. You guys are the reason why we get to do the show, why we get to do all of the cool stuff that we get to do. We're incredibly thankful for all of your support in this. And since we are so lucky that we have this platform that y'all have made possible, we want to make sure that we pay that forward on SJU. So we're going to be spotlighting some organizations that do great work. And this month we are highlighting Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. It is the nation's largest volunteer-supported mentoring network. And so if you're interested in volunteering to mentor a youth, go see some movies, go play some kickball, visit bbs.org to learn more. All right, so tonight's the big night. We've been talking about this. We're super hype.
It's Questmas.
It's Questmas! Never Surrender, our Galaxy Quest documentary. It is in theaters for one night only, so grab your tickets at fandomevents.com. It's going to be tonight. The link is in the description, and the mods are going to be spamming you with it because we know you all want that information. We just reminded Ryan to do that part. There we go. So y'all,
Shipley, send them the link.
send them the link, Shipley. So y'all have been tweeting your tickets with the hashtag Never Surrender, so we can say hi, we can answer your questions. Plus, we did a fan call-in event yesterday, and we have a bunch of questions from that we didn't get a chance to get into. So strap in, y'all. Let's
do it.
We're doing it. We're going to continue doing these call-outs and questions to get them all up. So hey, if you haven't gotten yours in yet, and we don't do your call-out today, we're going to be continuing to do them next week. Just because the movie is out, don't mean we stop, baby. So we will continue to be giving all of your call-outs and shout-outs because we really appreciate how y'all all came together together for us on this.
Next week, refreshed, energized, and ready to do those call-outs.
Ready to get them call-outs in. All right, so we have got fan call-outs and questions. This one is from Emperor Cubone, it looks like.
Your Highness.
I like that. Screen Junkie's going to go see Never Surrender in Kentucky at Joe Starr. Always does our state proud. What is your biggest pop culture blind spot you've never bothered filling? Mine is definitely The Office. It just seems so impenetrable. So I pretend I get the constant references. Mine.
I mean, that's a great show. So
yeah,
I recommend it. It's fun. You'll enjoy it.
It's a good show. I will start with mine, which everyone thinks is the most ridiculous thing ever, and I'm kind of doing catch up. Seinfeld. That was when Martin came on. That was when My Unliving Color came on. It was when My Living Single came on, and I was like of that age where I was like, I don't identify with this workplace, and I don't get like the, I was a kid, so like all of those like big New York references and stuff was nothing I got, but I did get a clown that would hit people with a sack of nickels. Like that I understood. So,
and what more do you need, right?
You don't need anything more than that. So I'm catching up now.
Yeah, well, you looked at Seinfeld and said, homie, don't play that.
Exactly. Ed, do you have any pop culture blind spots?
I just have huge swaths. Like, I almost wish I had stayed into wrestling, and then sometimes I'll look into you guys' culture and go, nah, I was right to tap out right when I did. So it's no cap, but there's things I'm super interested in that I know are just bleh. Anime, I don't get it.
That's mine too. Anime is my biggest one. I know nothing about anime, and it's not that I don't want to. It's a big zero for me as far as like knowledge. And I mean
deep lore on every bit of it.
Yep.
And I want to, but it's just, for whatever reason, it just keeps falling to the wayside. That's my biggest, because it's huge now, and I know functionally nothing about it.
I think, there's like a couple of movies that I would recommend to you to be like, these, and that would be probably my entry point for my customized entry point for Dan, and then my customized entry point for you would be, did you like X-Men the animated series?
Yeah.
Do you like Batman the animated? Do you like superhero cartoons?
Yes, I like Americanized, very Western values in a superhero format. Yes, wow, yeah, you're right. So you're going to sell me on the opposite of that right now? Good job, let's go. No. Let's go, sell me this pen.
He just took the pen.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
That's how Wall Street actually works.
No, I mean, it is one of those things where I just feel super old when I talk to people about anime, because I liked Ninja Scroll, because I understood it. It's feudal Japan. These guys are super ninjas. They're fighting each other over lots of gold. Got me. But when it becomes like, oh man, you don't understand. You understand these 500 years of history, and then this One Piece thing and the impenetrability thing about these ones that have 1 billion seasons. Even something like get into.
But I will listen to you yell about the Fantastic Four for 3 hours.
You know what? I get it. That's why I feel ashamed. That's why I'm not just capping on it like Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not.
No,
because I understand that it is a rich lore that is valuable to people. I just did an episode of Nerd Goat about Pokemon, and Erika Ishii came on there, and she's brilliant and all that kind of stuff, and she knows all about that. But I was still like, ooh, how am I going to talk about Pokemon for an hour? And she killed it, because there is so much lore that I was just... I got a block.
I feel like this isn't necessarily, well, maybe it's pop culture, but it's like that's how I feel about getting into K-pop, where it's like there's just so much. Like I've said this before, back in my day, you had like 3 or 4 bands. They each had like 5 members, and it was easy to, there's like 20 K-pop bands. They all have like 10 to 15 members, and I used all of that in my brain for comic books and wrestling. Like I just don't have anything left. It's a sieve. It's all
at some point,
I'm going to forget my grandma's name if I keep doing that.
At some point, you get to the point with some things where you're like, this isn't for me, and that's fine. Like all of us should stay away from TikTok. That's not ours.
Ryan, you should have a TikTok though.
No, well, Ryan is 14 and he gets a TikTok. But yeah, no TikToks at this table.
TikTok
no, we don't deserve K-pop. And yeah. The Office is probably mine too, actually. I made an executive decision, episode 1 into The Office, and I know that it was wrong. I did the same thing with Parks and Recreation, and everybody yells at me for doing it.
You can skip the whole first season.
Skip the whole, well, but there's some good parts of the first season.
There are a few, yeah.
There's a couple of good episodes, but they're trying too hard to be the British show.
Yes, and then as soon as you skip to that, Parks gets so good, because it was that first season that did it for me too.
Yeah, yeah. I just I loved the BBC Office so much, and
you picked the worst episode.
Yeah, because it's
No, I know. I made that. I made this exact. I was like watching. And I was like, this is just a pale copy of the thing in my heart.
Dude, no, that American Office comes off like real Pet Cemetery. You know what I mean?
For that pilot,
like,
you got to start with Diversity Day.
Ooh,
Diversity Day is when I saw Diversity Day, I'm like, okay,
that should have been the pilot.
The potential for what the show could be.
Yeah, because you got to it introduced everyone to the Office. It introduced everyone to like the problem and everyone's personalities.
I can only do one. Which one do I do? Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh.
Well, I haven't seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Office.
so I'd say The Office.
Okay.
I'd say The Office.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine's still on. You can go back later.
Yeah,
exactly.
You got time for that one. All right. Well, thank you so much. That was such a great question. Next, we have from Jackson Workman at Apothecary Man. Wow, y'all are killing these names.
Yeah.
Hopping back on here for a quick second to show my support for Never Surrender. The Screen Junkies have been longtime heroes of mine. And I can't wait for this. Now for my dream question. What's you guys' favorite Emmett Walsh performance? First of all, deep cut.
Yeah.
That's a great, great deep cut.
I'm going with the basic answer and saying Blood Simple. The Coen brothers' first movie, he is phenomenal. He's like this. He's menacing. He plays this hitman who's stalking young Frances McDormand.
Yeah,
and he is so good in that movie. So just like a great heavy. And he's one of the who Emmett Walsh.
Yeah, he's a those guy. He's that guy. He
pops up in Knives Out actually, and I was so happy to see him. Like, oh, yeah, it was great. I mean, very briefly, but for me, the M heads out there will say this is a basic answer, but it's Blood Simple. Although he's been in so many great movies, and it's always such a great presence.
I've got a few. Liked him, not in huge part, but liked him in Raising Arizona.
Yep.
Harry and the Hendersons is George Sr. because that's a movie that's very close to my heart. Also, it was filmed in Washington. There's a rest stop that's got like a huge Harry that like I've taken pictures in front of. It's great. And this is a weird one, but he has Cosmic Owl in Adventure Time, and I love Adventure Time.
Oh God, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So those are my pulls.
I would like to, anytime I can take a moment to talk to the world about critters is a good time. My all-time big I kept getting thrown out of Roadrunner video in my town because I kept trying to rent critters. I was too young to rent critters.
They just have a picture of your face on the box with like a big no.
It's like, Joe, come on, man. And I would just be like, he's fantastic at that. Everyone's kind of firing on all cylinders in that. It's like a perfect schlocky B horror movie.
Critters is pretty good, y'all.
If that's a blind spot for you, you should watch Critters. It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess one of them. I guess both of them are like he plays like sort of cop figures in them, and one is Serpico, which I know a lot of maybe our viewership hasn't seen, but like it's a movie where obviously the cops are sort of corrupt and Serpico's going against them, and Emmett Walsh is in there as you know.
You know what I love? I love that you manage to remind people about Serpico at least once a month, and that genuinely makes me very happy.
Yeah,
I love how much you love Serpico.
I love Serpico.
Number one, it has everything I like. 70s pacing. The establishment is against you. Yup. And Quiet Pacino.
This film's got everything.
Yeah. It's got everything. Quiet Pacino. None of this. I'm a fan of man stuff. No. Quiet. Oh, this is so bad. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't even fathom. Oh God, I have no friends. That Pacino. That Pacino was fantastic.
Lonely
it's
Pacino.
magical. Yeah, Lonely Pacino is my jam. And Emmett Walsh in Blade Runner. Now look, I understand this is a very let me put on my laser disc type of thing I'm about to say, but Blade Runner. But I'm hot take Sally on this too. Blade Runner is almost relentlessly boring from a certain point of view.
I'll give you that.
From a certain point of view.
From like the viewer's point of view. Sorry. It's a beautiful film, but I find it to be really dull. It's gorgeous.
Dude, you don't like a futuristic Calvin Klein ad? What's wrong with you,
Walking
bro?
through an art museum can be very boring.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. The craftsmanship.
We just lost most of our audience.
Sorry.
No, but let me tell you something, Mean Gene. One of the reasons why that thing is not a big deal or ad and is in fact a piece of cinema, is in fact a story, and is in fact a narrative, is Emmett Walsh playing that higher up police character that drags Deckard back into the business of killing skin jobs, and just the greasy, smelly crappiness of that guy. That's a real guy. By extension, this world in which he inhabits is real, even though it is just the most beautifully lit, just still life. You know,
Rutger Hauer's amazing.
Yes,
this incredible.
All these things,
great performance.
But the thing that gets you to buy into the whole conceit, I think if Emmett Walsh isn't in that movie, I don't know that you buy into the whole conceit the way that you do.
That's a solid pull. Yeah, and just because it's boring, I mean, it's bad. I love The Dark Crystal. That movie is real boring.
Mad Men's kind of. I love Mad Men, but it is it's so real boring sometimes.
Dude, Roth is gonna come pop out a bowl of rice and kick you in the head.
Oh yeah, Scott Mance just like launched into the air on a rocket ship, crashed through the ceiling. What?
All right, then another great question.
He wished me happy birthday on Facebook, and I think if he's on Cameo, I just want him to say my name and then shout the date that I was born.
Yes. I'll buy that for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll get that for you as a present.
Request.
Joe Starr, you were released
November 24th, 1981.
All right, and next we've got BH Pitt at BH Pitt, who says, Screen Junkies made sure to get my ticket for Never Surrender, a Galaxy Quest documentary.
Nice.
With 2019 having been such a crazy year for movies, is there anything big you're really excited about in 2020? Personally, I'm really looking forward to the Many Saints of Newark. That's a great question. So obviously I'm looking forward to all the comic booky stuff. All that stuff is great. Yeah. Next year is going to be a great year for musicals. We've got In the Heights, we've got West Side Story. I'm hyper psyched for both of those. I want to see Coming to America too, just because I need to know how they going to do that. Really psyched for Bill and Ted. I want to see Sonic just because I'm so curious. And I think I don't know if they have like a date for this. I think this is coming out next year. It's called Wrong Answer. It is Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler teaming up again, and they're going to be doing the real story about an Atlanta school cheating scandal. So I believe that's set to come out next year. So that's one that I want to see really bad.
There's only one movie I want to see next year, and that's New Mutants. I'm so excited.
I want to see it too.
I'm so excited for April 2020 when New Mutants is definitely released.
It's for sure coming out.
Lock it in. We will be sitting in a theater in April 20, a movie theater, an old-fashioned movie theater, watching New Mutants.
I'm going to eat my popcorn with my seat back.
Yep.
I will have bought my ticket from the box office. I will definitely not be watching it home.
Nope.
One for New Mutants.
Whatever.
A person will rip that ticket.
Yeah.
Yep. A concession standsman will give me a licorice whip.
Yep.
And I will watch myself some New Mutants.
Is the idea of New Mutants at this point more fascinating than the actual New Mutants?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is my Snyder cut. I'm excited about Bond. I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge doing Bond, I think, is fascinating. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, James Bond is weird because when you watch the James Bond franchise, on balance, I would say there are probably as many not good ones as there are good ones.
Yeah.
But I am irrationally excited for every new James Bond movie. I think it's the possibility that you're going to get a Skyfall, and then every once in a while you get an Octopussy. But
I just recently did like a huge Bond watch because like a bunch of them are on streaming, and oh boy.
Yeah, right? We mythologize them as if they're all great. They are
Moonraker's amazing. I don't care. It's not in the way that it's good, Dan. In the way that I think it's amazing.
Die Another Day is dreadful.
Well, you know what? I just wish more.
Hard.
The world is not enough.
No. Die Another Day is really bad. But
It's
you know,
dreadfully bad.
one of the main things that is bad is the theme song. It's one of the only Bonds that has
Yeah, Madonna whiffed it. Madonna whiffed it. And then another name.
And she was in that music makes it people like era.
Like, yeah.
You know what I mean? So she thought everything was
that's a rough Madonna era.
right.
Well, and also like James Bond opening, it's a bad song, and the James Bond opening sequences are always like these gorgeous things, and like Die Another Day is literally a montage of him being tortured in North Korea. Underneath, like, I'm gonna make it. And he's like getting dunked in the water. And, like, what the hell is going on here?
He's been artfully waterboarded. It's just like, what?
I said it on Movie Fights because I argued Die Another Day is the worst James Bond movie forever ago, but it's like anytime that the script opens, fade in, James Bond surfs onto a beach in North Korea, you're like,
I hope they don't shoot a missile at him. Anyway,
we got a Candyman next year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
That's another one where I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah.
Tenet, we've got Christopher Nolan's films, and also Dune. Denis Villeneuve.
Very interested to see how it turns out as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it's sometimes I'm Hot Take Sally, and sometimes I'm Basic BI. And here I go. I want to see Black Widow, man. Like, it's, and I understand it's just more Disney shillery. My check, please. But I love the fact that Taskmaster is in there. I'm a long time Taskmaster liker, somebody who can approximate any human ability. Like if you watch, I could be Bruce Lee. I can be Muhammad Ali. I can be a spy. He's got a great fun costume, great fun 70s costume. You know what I mean? He's just so cool. And that Russian Captain America, I forgot his name right now.
David Harbour.
Yeah, David Harbour plays Captain Red Shorts.
Yeah.
And
Captain Red Shorts, our favorite.
Captain Red Shorts.
Yeah, sickle hammer guy. Big Drago. Little Drago.
Big Drago!
Big Drago on the beat.
My favorite Russian rapper. Big Drag!
Red Guardian, by the way.
Red Guardian on the track.
That's not that different from Conrad Russian.
We got the best bread lines!
That does sound like something that you would say like right before the beat drops to remind you who made it.
Yeah, wait for it, music.
Red Guardian!
So I like the fact that, frankly, Black Widow is going against some enemies that would make a good match for Captain America.
Right.
So this is an interesting way to put over Black Widow even more than she has been before, and I think that effort is kind of fantastic. So I'm very excited for Red Sparrow.
Nice
Black Widow.
A nice little denouement for that character. Yeah.
Plus Florence Pugh, who is on the rise.
Yes.
Phenomenal performance after phenomenal performance.
Even if you don't like fighting or like wrestling, Fighting with My Family is amazing. And watch it because it's Stephen Merchant. Don't watch it because it's wrestling.
And Midsummer.
And Midsummer.
She's great in that. Although that one's kind of weird. So.
Although really, you could watch one or the other. Fighting with My Family and Midsummer pretty much beat for me.
Same movie.
Same movie.
Absolutely.
The Rock is in both.
He's just getting wild body slamming people. Oh, I'm going crazy.
It doesn't matter what season it is.
All right. Okay, so there we go. There were some of the call-outs that we had for Never Surrender Again. We will still be continuing to do those next week, so don't worry. So now we've got some from yesterday's Shindig. Monica asks, to Screen Junkies with pets, what actors would you cast to play your pets in a Cats-type movie about them and why?
We've actually had this discussion, Mara and I, and so I have answers on the ready, which is that our dragon cat, Muffin, would be played by Dame Helen Mirren. And our dog cat, Sir Pounce, would be played by Chris Pratt.
Oh.
So we've actually literally had this discussion. So I am ready to go answers.
On deck.
I have an orange tabby named Stuart, and he's an idiot, and has a lot of love to give. He would be played by John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
He would absolutely be John C. Reilly. And then I have a cat named Sarah, who is a cruel, a lovely, cruel, beautiful bitch of a woman who only loves me. And I'm not. Anne Hathaway maybe, just like a really mean, just really going for it, like
mean.
Playing the Anne Hathaway that everyone decided that she was because
The Ocean's 8 Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, Ocean's 8 Anne Hathaway.
Maybe Lena Headey.
Ooh, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Like
That's
a
it.
Cersei
Yeah,
Lannister
nice.
type.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, there you go.
Yep.
Man, Ma from
Which makes me
Dread.
her Joffrey, which tracks.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't have a dog. I'm trying to get one, and I am being blocked at every turn.
Aw.
But no, I'm not. But I just want one that's slightly bigger.
blocked.
No, I want one that's slightly bigger than the one that Clee wants, because I want a dog that's valuable in a scrap. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the Missouri in me.
I want a dog who.
You know, I don't need a dog that's gonna yap at the rattlesnake that's at the foot of my, camp bed. What's
get
that
it.
thing? Sleeping bag. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't
Camp
need
bed.
Can't bet.
I remember me and the boy. Gather around, assholes, and hear a tale of me, Ace High and Pecos Bill, round a campfire on a camp bed, snug and tight.
In our camp house.
In our camp house, under the camp light in the night sky.
I was on the Ponderosa rolling me up one of them Pall Malls, and I seen a rattlesnake at the foot of my camp bed. He was warming himself by the rocks of the fire. And so I want a dog that's useful in a scrap, and I just don't want some little punk dog. I just don't. So I want at least the size of like Mad Max's dog. I want like an Aussie. I love that breed. Look at there's a great Twitter account, Aussies Do Things. It's
I'm
great.
on that.
They're about yay big, and they're just awesome and very enthusiastic. Anyway, my friend Rich though has a dog named Boone that we babysat or dog sat right as they got it, and they had to go for a long trip right as they got the dog because they didn't plan it right. So they bonded with it pretty good for about a week, and then they had to leave with us for like almost a week. And that dog loves me to death.
No.
He rips and runs.
Something loves
Every time
you.
he sees me, he runs like 15 times around the whole house.
That's fun.
And then runs.
I love when they get the zoomies.
Yeah, he's super zoomy.
That's what I call him.
Yeah, and his name is Boone, and I love him so much. I would die for him. Like if it was him and Baby Yoda, I'd have a real hard choice. You know what I mean?
I get it.
I love him so much, and he would be played by the ultimate breathless actor, Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, it's so good to see you.
How has he not voiced a dog?
That's crazy.
That is the
Has he
perfect
not?
dog voice.
Dude, I am an executive.
Hey, Ed, I just want to cuddle with you on your camp bed.
Dude, I'm an executive moonlighting as a YouTube personality, and I would love for the industry to understand that.
Yeah.
Because these ideas are awesome. But yeah, no, Mark Wahlberg, perfect breathless personality.
I feel like I know that dog now.
What do you mean state? State of California? I know where I am, Jack.
That's perfect. I don't have one, but I have a dog that I sit for all the time. His name is Nibbler. He's the cutest.
How ironic, you sit for the dog.
I do sit for the dog. He's so cute, and he owns me. He's another one.
Like a
He's got
villain
the-
thing.
How ironic.
You
sit for the dog.
He also gets the zoomies really bad, and he's just like a little cuddle bug. He's really tiny. I don't know what kind of hair he has. It's white, curly, kind of nappy. I love him. And he's just like a really happy dude who just wants to like run around the front yard and do stuff. And he seems like a real like people pleaser. Like unfortunately, he's always like underfoot doing stuff, which has caused many burns when I go to their house to go to when I'm cooking and stuff, which is bad.
Oh, I was like, is he wielding something hot?
Yeah, he tries to burn me at every opportunity. It's
He's running around with a curling iron.
He's got a flat iron in his hair, and then he gets me too. But I think that he would be played by Tom Holland in a Cat's. Yeah, he's very graceful and my sweet little nibs, and hopefully I get to.
It'd be weird if it was Tom Hardy. I'd be like, that's
What accent
an
is this?
interesting dog.
What accent is this dog speaking in?
You adopted the dog house. I was born into it.
All right, so next we've got Mabe Broderick. Are there any movies for you that people have been recommending to you for years, and every time you say you'll put it on the list, but you never get around to watching it?
Critters.
Oh yeah, is this a Joe-centric list? Because I'll go Transformers, the motion picture. No, obviously I've seen that a lot, but if I hadn't, oh boy, he'd be trying to make me do it.
I haven't.
I would no. That's a Goonies. That's like, oh, you didn't see that when you were 4. You're fine. Like,
It's not gonna hit.
I wouldn't walk up to like a 35-year-old person and be like, you didn't have the Goonies attached to your DNA. Sit down, Steve. Like, yeah, it's just not gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good
This goes to my anime thing, but your name.
That's on my list. That's
I've had so many people say like, "Oh, watch your name. Oh, you want to get an anime? Watch your name. Watch your name. Watch your name. It's really good." Or even just like in general, watch your name. And I'm just like, yes, I want to watch it, and it happened.
the biggest one I have to fix, because I've only seen pieces of it, and it came out at a time when my brain wasn't working correctly to understand that this movie being stupid is what makes it freaking great. So I saw like pieces of it, and then people were like, "Oh, this movie's so ridiculous," and I was like, "I guess you're right." Was Escape from LA. I have not seen all of Escape from LA.
That doesn't even make sense for you.
No, I know. I feel like I'm really kind of dropping something here, but I love Escape from New York.
How is that possible?
I just haven't. It's just one of those things now where I just like haven't sat down to watch Escape from LA ever. I don't know.
Have you seen Bruce Campbell's scene?
Yes, I've seen that. There are parts that I've seen.
I mean, it is ridiculous, but in the best way.
Exactly, and I was just, when it came out, I was like not in a good formed brain place where it was like, oh, that's the point, and which makes no sense, but
it's the best game of one-person basketball ever put to play.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
They play a game of Bangkok rules. Like everything I've seen in it now, I quote all the time. But I gotta finish Escape from LA.
Yeah.
I honestly, that scene where he throws the basketball from like half court and makes it or whatever.
It's like him playing basketball against himself in real time.
In real time. Yeah, it's like a game of horse in front of a whole stadium.
Yeah, it's like a game of horse, like you can't miss, right?
Your life, yeah.
Right.
You have 10 seconds for each basket. You have to run back and forth. You can't miss.
And if somebody is that intent on doing something and making you do something like that you can't do, they want to kill you anyway. So I wish he had completed all that, and they'd be like, yeah, kill him anyway.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome. But you know what? I got to say, I'm really blanking on something that I haven't seen. You know what I mean? So I'll just say one that I just recently got off my list, and that was The Godfathers.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was at a friend's house, and they had a home theater, and it was like 2 a.m, and I was wired. And I turned on the home theater, and I watched the first Godfather from like 2 to like 4, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. It looks like it was lit by like candlelight, like Barry Lyndon. You know what I mean? And his performance is great with all this crap in his mouth. Like somehow he's got gravitas out of putting mothballs in his fat face. This is amazing. Unicron did a really good job in this movie. That's what I thought.
That's great.
That's Orson Welles.
Sorry. And then
Role of a lifetime.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Take 2. Jor-El did a great job.
There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, just to pop culture it up. And then so the second one, Robert De Niro's performance is so fantastic. I know everybody said that, but like people say Raging Bull and this and that. I can get fat. I can't lose weight, but I can get fat. People can get fat. That's not a performance. I'm sorry. It's weird. It's weird that getting fat is like a performance for these people. It's like, I am so fit that getting fat getting fat is so hard. I gotta sit around like a regular American with crappy food.
Cut to the wine.
More to it than that.
I understand. I'm being diminishing, but I'm just saying what Robert De Niro was doing in that role, inhabiting another actor's performance from an earlier time, getting a bunch of gravitas for somebody's earlier life, and it not being cheap, and him not doing sort of a Lando or Donald Glover doing Billy Dee Williams sort of impression of Vito. The fact that it was that deep level acting, the fact that the script was that good, the script is better than the first one. It was just fantastic. And at the end of that movie, the sun was coming up. And it was like, that was a chapter of my life that was done.
That's a nice Godfather night.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so that I rectified it recently, and that.
Very
Did you ever watch 3?
I have. You know what? I saw a lot of 3 years ago on some weird stuff.
Okay.
So now I can understand and appreciate it when I do watch it again.
Sure.
Very nice. For me, it was just The Jerk. I've just never gotten around to it. I know it's really good, and that's just one that I did. It's slipped past me every time. All right, we're gonna do one last question here. I want to end this on a warm fuzzy, and so Aaron asks, "What is your favorite thing about everyone else on the panel?"
Oh man.
Oh boy.
That's right. Let's do it, old CJ.
Oh jeez.
All right, I'll go first. Ed, my favorite thing about Ed is his unapologetic fearlessness about what he thinks and says, which is rare. Especially, it's rare to find in anybody, but especially in our space where you're saying them publicly and they live on the internet forever. I don't have Ed's bravery, and I admire that quality in him. And also, just a super nice, awesome dude. Joe, just the Jonas of it all. the starness of it. No, you just like this wonderful presence to have around, and just energy and enthusiasm, and a lot of times when we need it. And also Joe keeps things clean. Because he left for a week and the refrigerator rotted. The whole refrigerator just rotted. I don't know how the actual appliance itself rotted because Joe wasn't there to take care of us.
It's his magical energy that keeps us all going.
Joe is I call him the office cleaning fairy. He just things just get clean, and because Joe is the only one that cares enough to do it, and that's Joe in a microcosm. And then Danielle is again I love your perspective. I love your energy. I love your passion. I love that you're unique. I love that you teach me about wigs.
We are going to have a wig segment someday.
Ironically, I don't know anything about. But yeah, again, it's just I love how everyone around the last few years, we've, I think, put together a team on purpose where instead of being one loud sound of brass, we're now a jazz band where everybody's playing their own instrument. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely does.
And Danielle, I like your instrument. I like the tone and the tenor of it and the sound of it, and I love that you're part of our team. So.
Thank you. All right, so I will go next. I will start with Ed. Ed, I love that you are able to make literally anything the funniest thing I've ever heard. No matter what we're talking about, when we do these big broccoli stories, and again, we get into the numbers and stuff, and you're like, maybe that's not so much for me, but you can bring in your perspective and make it really humorous and be about how you genuinely feel about the topic. But also you can make things hilarious, and you're not even trying. So that is one of my favorite Ed things.
Thank you.
Also, it's just everybody here is a big sweetheart. It's the best thing in the world. Joe, other than just being funny and a great writer and all of those things, you do so much conscious work to make sure that we are bringing in new voices and new people that aren't maybe not doing as much stuff, or maybe a perspective we don't hear from as much. That is something that you take time to do. So I want to do that. And Dan. Dan is, other than obviously being amazing with movies and great depth of film knowledge and really being able to do those numbers and make those numbers interesting in a way that most people have not ever done for me and never will. I know numbers are your beautiful dance. They don't dance for me in the same way.
They're my Joker thing.
Yeah.
There's box office figures. I'm in the back room.
Just seeing the numbers everywhere. And it's a beautiful, beautiful dance of truth. But also, Dan is incredibly supportive. And that's one of those things where it's you guys see us all in the stuff we do on camera, but off camera is also just really supportive and making sure that, all voices are heard and things like that also. So thank you very much, Dan. And those are my nice things.
You did the nice things. I'll go next.
You go next.
I'll start over there. Dan, first and foremost, is my friend, and I love you very much. Dan is, on one hand, so just analytical and detail-oriented and able to really, both big picture and really get in deep on not just charts and numbers and stuff, but ideas and structure and format. But then at the same time, feels so much and is cares and is just such this wonderful balance of analytical and emotional. And I think that's a very rare thing. And I think it's a very valuable thing to have on the team, sure, but also just in your life and in the world. And I thank you very much for it. Also, his girlfriend bakes for us, and that's cool.
Come in and there's just tons of stuff because she's just such a sweetheart.
She's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Danielle is a warm light. You absolutely are. I lean on it a lot, probably sometimes more than I should. You always make yourself available and present for absolutely everyone here and the people around you. And that's such an important thing to have, and I don't take that contribution to my life lightly. Ed is a damn anchor. I think I've told you this before, because Ed and I have done stand-up together for years before we did any Screen Junkies thing, before I knew what an honest trailer was or anything like that. And anytime I've looked at a lineup or something like that, and it's like, okay, this person's already told me they're not really feeling it tonight. This person's already drunk. These two have only done stand-up like 3 times, but I have to have them on the show. Whatever.
That is the perfect stand-up line.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
How can I build this show around Ed Greer to make it good? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can always just count on you. That's if there's one stress you can take away from producing comedy or producing a show, it's just knowing that Ed will show up and he'll perform and he'll knock it out, and he'll never even though you always, oh, you son of a bitch, you always come off stage and you're like, that was bad.
Oh.
And it
every single time.
Oh,
I don't know about that set. He comes off and people are literally applauding and falling out of his seats. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I really whiffed that last one.
Gonna lose 4 nights of sleep on that because I said a verb weird or something.
You think I need to rewrite that last thing? I think it's time for me to go back.
Camp bed. Camp bed.
But camp bed was such a gift.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like buffalo pelts. What are you?
Pelts.
And buggy whips.
Those are your nice things.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That's really super cool. I guess I'll go around the table that way because Dan, we've had our dust-ups. We've had kerfuffles.
We have.
You know what I'm saying? You're like Reynolds Wrap, baby, because you are my foil. You know? You know what I mean? I haven't found that many worthy adversaries. I mean, certainly there's people who could beat me up, but somebody I'd like to fight with, somebody I'd like to joust with, somebody I'd like to talk to in this manner, not too many. And Dan really stands out. And it's one of these things where, I mean, we've pounded home the fact that he's analytical and, kind of a little skin job. But he's always ready with the riff. Yep. He's always ready with the good movie character impression. He's always ready with all this comedic stuff that comes from these people who aren't so analytical, perhaps. So he's fantastic.
He is low-key the funniest person here.
You know what I mean? He's fantastic in that manner. So it's like that's the things I pick up on. It's like, how could I be a more precise version of myself and still keep this joie de vivre or whatever you call it that I seem to have. So Dan, you are an inspiration, and I really like you, buddy.
I appreciate it.
And Danielle. Now, I'm not trying to bring it down or make it weird, but there was a little distress a few weeks ago, and involving you and the whole jazz. And
that time I almost died. I didn't almost die. Oh my God, that's a joke. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't take it literally.
I was totally joking. I am so sorry.
Just the teardrop emojis flooded the chat. It's Noah.
I'm very alive.
No, yeah. So anyway, during that episode, I'm not trying to be weird, but during that episode, I felt a lot of feelings, and I found myself standing against the door jamb, crying.
Ed.
And I was trust me, I was like, dude, does not compute. Stop it. You know what I mean? I was trying hard, Ringo, to stop these young tears from coming down. You know what I mean? I was trying hard, and Dan could attest. He was like, patting me on the back. I was like, oh, this dude's emotion chip is working too. What the hell is going on?
It's rare.
And it was really brutal, and I was wondering where all that was coming from, and it was because I really super appreciate you, and I really appreciate the touchstone that you are for me here. And that, when we're talking about all this jazz, I know that I have somebody who kind of understands where I'm coming from, but also we're different people. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're different people, and we can represent more than the what you call it, a monolith. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not a monolith. We're evidence of not a monolith and all that jazz. So it's like I just really like your take on everything. I love what a brilliant writer you are. That Black Panther piece.
Thank you.
Dude, it was like watching Black Panther again as far as all that emotion. Like, I never thought I'd see this level of analysis put towards something of this nature for that purpose. And I was like, you're there for. You're like Captain America. You know what I mean? You're a super soldier in this game. And I love you for that. And so, yeah, that's why I had so much emotion, and I'll retain it. And last but not least, Joe, the thing about Joe is, everybody loved Joe. Joe handsome. Joe insouciant. You know, Joe's really living. If you ever wanted evidence that we're all individuals living out an individualistic existence and we're all beautiful snowflakes, Joe's like evidence of that. Joe's so many different.
He has been called a snowflake a lot. Yeah. I can attest to that.
If you ever wanted evidence of different kinds of milk, Joe is the soy kind.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? Sometimes you need some beans in your life. I love Joe because Joe is evidence that you can. He's like the rose that grew from the concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel a kinship with Joe because where me and Joe come from, I don't know that what we are is that appreciated. You know what I mean? And I linking up with him out here enabled me to have a little bit of a. You call me an anchor. He's an anchor for me. I think I would have drifted away in a lot of ways. Like you anchoring me here at Screen Junkie so I could be an anchor. You know what I'm saying? You and Billy Business, like seeing that in me, that I could do this sort of work and not just be, a wild card. I could calm it down, baby. I haven't cursed one time.
That's consistently the hardest thing about being on these panels.
Very difficult.
You know what I mean? So it's just like somebody to have that sort of faith in you, and Joe had a lot of faith in me, and I really love it. And the thing about Joe, and this is last things last, I don't want to filibuster here, but like Joe actually lives to serve. And that's so rare. Every time I've seen Joe have an opportunity to serve or to help, he has done it. I have not seen him turn a blind eye to any outstretched hand ever, my man. And that is quite rare. So I love Joe Starr. I think Joe Starr loves me. And being loved by Joe Starr is to be truly loved.
It's true.
It's one of the best things in the world.
That is true.
It is genuinely one of the best things in the world. All right, well, I have warm fuzzies. I hope you all feel as warm and fuzzy as I do right now. Make sure that you follow us on Screen Junkies U. Do not forget to watch the movie fights that we did, Best Animated Villain. That is up right now. And so, obviously, for those of you who know, this is a holiday in the United States. And so we will have episodes tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, but those will be pre-taped. But we'll be back live on Monday, and we've got some good stuff for you. So make sure that you watch those. You're going to enjoy them. All right, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.